I came across an article, a motorcycle article on the internet maybe 2 weeks ago. Now I think a couple of people have already done videos of this, but I'm going to give you my take on it. So basically, it was a doom and gloom type article talking about how motorcycling is dying in the United States. They were saying that the motorcycle industry is on a severe decline here in the U.S. And so I took a deep look at the article, and they were saying that sales is declining in certain markets, such as the once prolific Harley-Davidson market. Sales isn't quite what it used to be with regards to Harley-Davidson and some of the other motorcycle manufacturers. And they pretty much attributed this to millennials not really wanting to be part of the motorcycle culture here in the U.S. And they also attributed this to the aging motorcycling population here in the United States. The article went on to say that 46% of the motorcyclists here in the U.S. is over the age of 50 years old. Now, that's pretty significant once you think about it. 46% of motorcyclists are over the age of 50 years old, and that includes me. That includes me. So you got to think about it. A lot of the people that I know, and I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the motorcyclists that I've known in the past have hung up motorcycling once they reach the age, give or take a few years, of 65 or 70 years old. You know, they say, hey, I can't really handle the bike anymore. I really don't want to take the risk of getting injured anymore. I've done everything I wanted to do on a bike, so it's time for me to do something else. And I get that. And at some point, I'll be there as well. Not there yet. Got a long way to go because I just turned 50 really. And I'm still relatively healthy. But I think that number, if accurate, is pretty significant. 46% of motorcyclists here in the U.S. is over the age of 50. That's pretty significant, in my opinion. The motorcycling industry, to their credit, has tried to address that issue. Harley-Davidson released a few bikes which are relatively inexpensive when compared to their other bikes that they had in their inventory. I think the 48 is a relatively inexpensive bike. Yamaha came out with the Volt a few years ago. Indian has come out with the Scout. So industry is trying to target a lot of the millennials out there. Millennials aren't going to have the disposable income that older men and women will have. I remember when I was in my 20s, I didn't have jack. I had an apartment, a twin bed, and a little 13-inch black and white TV with no cable, and I was good to go. Couldn't afford much else, but I was good to go. So millennials can't, at least most of that I know, they can't afford a brand new $20,000 to $25,000 motorcycle. Let's just call it what it is. They can't. And they don't want to spend that money even if they had the money. And I don't blame them. You know, they want to do other things with their money, buy a house or put it in investments or start a business or something like that. And I don't blame them. But there has been a shift, in my opinion, in motorcycle culture here in the United States. Whatever made motorcycling so popular back in the mid-20th century is not there now. Harley-Davidson was really big back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Honda came out with very creative marketing ads. You know, you meet the friendliest people on a Honda. You remember that ad from back in the day? But nowadays, the culture just isn't there. And that's pretty much one reason why I started this channel, was to get people interested in motorcycling and motorcycle travel. That's my big thing. I love to travel via motorcycle, long distance travel. But for whatever reason, the culture is such that here in the United States is just not as popular as it once was. Not saying that there aren't many millennials out there riding. There are plenty of millennials riding, but if the data that I just quoted is accurate, there is cause for some alarm. Like I said, millennials, I don't think they have the disposable income, and even if they did, they don't want to spend it on motorcycling. But there are options. There's used motorcycles out there, pretty inexpensive used motorcycles. Number two is maybe motorcycling isn't viewed as cool as it once was for whatever reason. So I don't know. But gladly, the global motorcycle market doesn't seem to be in a decline. You go to other regions of the world, such as Asia and Africa. Motorcycling is pretty much a necessity in order to get around. Here it's a luxury. I don't need to have a motorcycle. I've got a car, I've got a pickup truck, so I've got everything I need to get around from a practical standpoint. But I just love riding a motorcycle. But in other countries, such as Asia, or other regions, such as Asia and Africa, it's a necessity. You got to have a motorcycle in order to get around, period. People can't afford a four-wheel vehicle in a lot of cases over there, and I get that. And in other countries, such as Australia, and I've got an article on that motorcycle culture or industry seems to be growing. Maybe at a slow rate, but it is still on an incline. So that's going to be cause for additional study by researchers out there. Why are certain countries' motorcycling popularity rising while others aren't? And trying to compare apples to apples, Australia and the United States are both first world, pretty developed countries. So that's just something to think about. But for whatever reason, I don't know why, and I wish it wasn't the case, but it just seems that, and I kind of agree with this article, even though I do see plenty of motorcyclists out there. A lot of the motorcyclists I see here in South Texas are my age or older. So that's not to say that I'm not seeing very many young riders, but it just seems that the preponderance of motorcyclists here are my age or older. So that's just something to think about. That's something for the motorcycling industry to address, whether it be marketing or coming out with attractive, inexpensive new products, or they may just have to work on helping to change the culture of motorcycling here in the country if they don't want to totally lose out on market share here in the U.S. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Take it for what it's worth, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.